You start recording.
Welcome to the PRFFP, the podcast showcasing the films and the directors of the Party Room Film Festival. This week's guest directed Rotten Roommate, How to Find Food in the Wild, Rotten Roommate 2, and this year's submission Science. For the first time this evening, please welcome Aaron.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I forgot to hit record, but we didn't get too far in, so that's good.
It's okay. I can change my answer.
There we go. Instead of saying you were happy on the red team, you're going to be like, yeah, no, I hated being on the Reds. All right. Rules video comes around. We're doing a civil war. You get put on the red team with your leader being Matt. What were your thoughts on that?
I knew when we had Matt as my leader that we were going to win because we had Levi, we had Matt, myself, 3 Golden Dewey winners. We had you, who always is bringing the heat. We have Paul, who's got second 2 times, and plus Andrew King was on the other team. So that was another sign that I thought we were going to win.
Yeah, like we didn't have that anchor weighing us down, is what you're saying?
Sure.
What were your thoughts on the prop and the line?
So the prop I really liked because I thought it was a really snow globe is very versatile. Like, I know you could have a Star Wars snow globe, or you could have a Disney snow globe, or you could have something from, a vacation in Cancun. I had like 6 snow. I own like 6 snow globes, and I used none of them in my film. I even brought them to like set. Like, I even planned it. Like, I had it in my like run of show for filming, but just kind of made the conscious decision that I didn't need it. So I thought that was good. And then the line, I was talking to you about it before, but like, I think I've settled on a neutral on the line, because whatever the line would have been, I would have just thrown it in at the end because I made a non-serious film.
What are your thoughts on, like, what camp are you in when it comes to the line should be from movies versus line should just be random? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, everything I've submitted has been from a movie, but it's been very like unserious to the point where, like, because I think my line from this year was from the film Jack Frost.
That's right. Yep.
So I'm open to having non-movie lines. I think the randomness of it all is kind of what makes it fun.
All right. Now, for the podcast listeners, that truly is as far as we got before I realized I didn't hit record. So now everything is absolutely real, I promise.
Hey, those were real answers.
Yeah, and they were basically the same. Anyway, sorry about that. We're all over the place tonight, aren't we?
Yeah.
So the other thing assigned to you is your actor, Trevor, and then the category pick up. Tell me how you are feeling about those and how you are going to navigate that category.
Yeah, so I can kind of get into it later a little bit, but I kind of had an idea for Science already before the rules video dropped. And so when I saw that my category was pick up, I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have them pick up a bottle or a science beer. I was like, technically that's picking up, but I was like, that could be a stretch. I think pickup's kind of a hard one. I mean, delivery is easier, I think. I think Mitchell got the easier one.
Because, I mean, like, whenever you're juxtaposing those terms, pickup means, like, picking something up from the store. And, like, which means that you are going to literally have to have a, grocery store visit or, like, a pizza place in your film.
Right. And I do like having those, because I think if you're struggling to think of an idea, it really can it's like, if you think of everything creative, it's hard to kind of zero in. But if if I went the pickup route, like you said, like, it could be like a pickup gone wrong or that kind of thing, which could lead me down a path, which didn't end up happening. But I do appreciate them, and I will try to pay more attention to them in the next few years.
And then what was your reaction to having Trevor as your actor?
I was really excited to have Trevor as my actor. I kind of had the idea of science before, like I said, but I didn't exactly know who I wanted my actors to be. I think I wanted Levi and Landers to be in there. I was like debating on who the third should be. And so when I got Trevor, I was like, okay, well, that's perfect. There you go. Those are the three. Because I thought just everything he would bring to the table would just be perfect.
Now we're going to get into questions about the actual film. And Aaron, let me just tell you, like, let's start with what the heck. Let's follow what the heck up with why. This is the hardest film to ask questions about since it is like unmitigated chaos.
Sure.
There's too much happening to like zero in on like any particular questions. But we will try. We will move forward. But man, you made quite the film this year.
I really appreciate that.
So tell me a little bit about, you said that you went into festival season with the idea for science, which, no offense, but this film felt like you were about to submit late. And we're
Sure.
like, let's just do this real quick, and then we'll submit, as close to the deadline as possible. But you submitted pretty early on, so tell me how science, that idea, came to be.
Yeah, I did. I think it was the first submission, maybe. I think it was, yeah. Okay. So this is how science came to be. After Party Room 4, I had just made Rotten Roommate 2, Bad Dog. And I remember leaving Party Room 4 and I was like, well, I like my film. It's a great film. It was funny. I was like, it's a good sequel. It's a good follow-up. It's a solid film. I said, but I kind of feel like I'm making the same film over and over again. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Like Rotten Roommate 2, and How to Find Food in the Wild all felt similar. The editing style, the humor was similar. It's kind of this like chaotic nature to it. And I love chaotic. I never want to stray from chaotic. But I said, well, we kind of have like a beginning, middle, and end of these like 3 stories. I need to find something with no beginning, middle, or end. It's just there. So that was my first.
You found that, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that was my first thought. I'm kind of tired of this beginning, middle, and end. Because as someone who makes videos for a living, I always find myself, storyboarding, generating questions, ideas, scripts, and I always find myself really pushing the beginning, middle, and end. And so like so it always leans that way. And so I was like, I need to purposely get out of my comfort zone and do something that is just out in the ethos and it just exists. And we're purposely going to avoid beginnings. We're going to avoid ends.
So, I mean, you've definitely found that because, we don't even open up with a title card, nothing. We open up and it's our 3 protagonists, if you will, if you can call them that. And there is 14 seconds before anybody says anything.
Isn't that great?
Somehow it is great.
I remember Josiah pulled me aside like right before the festival started and said, I've seen the first 10 seconds of your film because I have to check them just to make sure they play. He said, I've never been more interested to see a film. And I was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good initial start. I'll say this. I had an idea for a film. I went to Firehouse Subs. And there was a mural on the wall of a baseball field.
Right.
And I was eating my sandwich and I said to my wife, I need to start thinking of party room ideas. And I saw the baseball field and I said, well, what is this? This is where my brain went. I said, what if we just have some party room guys play a baseball game and we call it baseball? And they're just being themselves, because I said I think it's funnier that was another thing with science. I thought it would be funnier if, because I was like overacting in all my films, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, how funny would it be if it was like kind of like actually me, or like actually someone like that we could actually relate to, because we're not good actors. So I'm like, if we see someone
Speak for yourself.
well, it's like, you kind of are like, you suspend you suspend
Yeah.
your disbelief, but you're kind of like, oh, that's silly. But I'm like, how funny would it be if they're like being like kind of real people, like 80-90% real,
Mhm.
but we just put them in an absurd situation. The situation's absurd. So I thought, in that moment, I was like, what if we just have them playing a baseball game and I direct them to say, just treat it serious. Like, treat it like you're being a competitive, like it's like 3-on-3 and we're playing baseball. And I just thought naturally that would be funny. And I was like thinking 7 minutes of that. 7 minutes of that. And you're just watching a baseball game for 7 minutes. And you're like, is this funny? Is this not funny? I don't know what this is. And then the last minute, a meteor crashes next to the baseball field.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Left field. Okay. Okay. I'm with you.
And
Okay.
the guys go over to explore it. An alien pops out, and all of a sudden, it's pure chaos for 1 minute. So that was, and the film would be called Baseball. That was the initial idea.
Okay.
Right? So you could kind of see how this could morph into science.
Yeah.
I started thinking about it more, and I said, well, for baseball, I'd have to get like 6 people. What if they were doing something else? What if it was like a magic show? And I was like, and I was just kind of thinking of different things, and then that's when I kind of settled on, well, what if they were just doing these like kind of Boy Scouty science experiments?
Okay.
And we could call it Science Boys. That was the original title. And so originally I had I was going to have an art card, I was going to have music, I was going to have funny edits. But as I started getting into it more, I was like, we got to just strip it of everything. Like, if we're going to commit to this like thing, we just are going to, no music, no title card. And so that's how I started to write science.
So tell me a little bit about the pre-production for this. I mean, obviously, you have to gather your actors. We know that Trevor's going to be a part of it. Tell me about getting Levi involved, and then, of course, tell me about Lander's involvement in this. Lander's, hold on, no, let's stop here. What's Lander's deal? Why does he? Do you know why he does not do the festival anymore?
No, I don't know. He recently had his daughter.
Landers has a kid now?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I got to. Yeah, I got to. It didn't really feel like my announcements are made, but I mean, I met her. He's a good dad.
What? Well, it's been announced now. So.
Well, if you didn't know, Landers has a kid, Magnolia, and she's really sweet.
Congratulations to the panels.
That might have some. I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. But I thought it would be really funny to have him in, because when Levi, Landers, and I roomed together, I swear we would just be sitting there playing like Minecraft, and the funniest conversations would happen. And we would always say, like, I wish there was like a camera on the wall just recording this.
Yeah.
Because it was just a natural banter.
So that is like one thing that, I mean, the natural trio that I think we all associate is, or at least for me, because in my time on the hall, it was always you three down at the end in your little cave that would be arranged at least twice a week, which was baffling to me. So did any part of you want it to be you, Levi, and Landers instead of Trevor, and like figure out a different position for Trevor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And Trevor was having some issues with filming. So there was like a time or two that I was like, I'll just throw myself in. If you can't do it, like, you can have a cameo. We'll figure it out later. If you're my assigned actor. But I tried to avoid it just because I had felt like the big thing for me in Party Room 5 was just doing something different. And I had been in the previous, all of my films up to that point. So I said, well, what's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is me not being in this film. And so that's really was the deciding factor, is I was just trying to do a lot of opposites to what I had done before. But if Trevor wasn't good to go, then yeah, I would have stepped in.
So we now have our cast, but tell me what the conversation is like with them whenever you're like, hey, I've got this idea. Like what was your pitch to them?
I think I sent them a text and I said, hey, like, I swear I'm not doing drugs right now. But my idea for a film is to have you three stand in a field and do science experiments. And the last minute, it would get a little chaotic and you're going to get a little wet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I texted them. I think that's all the knowledge they knew.
So like, this feels like a dumb question, but was there ever a script for this? So
there wasn't really a script, right? Like, I wanted their banter to be natural because I had really felt like, at least in my films, I don't know if anyone else listening feels this way, there was a lot of like, I think part of it is like sometimes you're not in the same location. People are sending you clips, but sometimes I felt like there was a little bit of like, "Hey, how are you?" And then it cuts to someone, "I'm doing good."
Yeah.
"How are you doing?" And I was like, that kind of goes back to like the not feeling natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I kind of want them to overtalk each other.
Yeah.
And how do you get people to overtalk each other? Like, we're not actors. We're not spending months rehearsing this. Like, usually when you show up on set, it's your first time doing it. So I said, well, the best way to do that is to explain a situation, explain point A and explain point B.
Yeah.
And maybe there's maybe it's A to C or A to D, and there's point B and C in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically say start here and end here. So that's kind of the direction I would give them before each thing.
So your skeleton your skeleton path before hitting record was basically like, we're doing experiment 1, experiment 2, experiment 3, and then we'll talk about the chaos.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about your camera setup for this. Is it just that one wide shot camera, or did you have another one?
Yeah, we had 2 cameras. We had one on a tripod, and then I had one on like a shoulder rig that was getting just insane close-ups that are just, if you watch the film, are just like the most bizarre close-ups ever. And so we had that, and then I did have a binder. Like, believe it or not, I had a binder printed out that was 3-hole punched that was like, here are the experiments, here's kind of how it goes down. Like, as random as it seems, there was a level of control to it, if that makes sense. Like, I knew where it was going to end up. I knew kind of now what they were going to say exactly, I didn't know. But there was some prep going into, hey, what are the 4 experiments we're going to do? And, I settled on 4 because I thought that was at first I was like, how many could we fit in here? What would look good on camera? What would be different than the last? So each one keeps your interest. We could just do Mentos and a Diet Coke, but what if you took it a step further and tried to tape a Hot Wheels around it? Because naturally, no matter what, that's going to be funny.
Yeah.
So I try to put them in the stupidest situations that would force humor.
Why is Levi in a wig?
I don't know. I ordered it on Amazon and put it on him.
Now, I know this is somewhat of a redundant question because, your directing style for this year was no directing. You were trying to stay away from format, but certainly there was some direction. So, like, did you give them, like, I want you to be yourself, but the other 10% is what? Like what type of direction did you give? Like, are they in character, or was this like purely organic? Yeah.
So I told Trevor to be himself, and to really be obsessed with eyes. And I just said, not annoyingly so, but just enough, because we were trying to find that sweet spot of humor, of like what is believable but a little beyond believable, and it's kind of, he nailed it because it's exactly what he did. Landers, I forget what I told him exactly, but I think I told him to just like be kind of confused why he was there. Like not really sure what's going on, and kind of upset at Levi a little bit the whole time. And then, but mostly yourself. So I'd say Trevor and Landers, I told you, like, be 90% yourself. And then Levi, I'm like, he had a little more free range. So I gave, Levi could be like 50-60% himself. Which I thought would also make it funnier, because it's like these other two guys are like 90% themselves, but then Levi's like not really. So it's just this like uncomfortable mix.
I'm very happy to hear that you gave Trevor the direction to be obsessed with eye safety, because of course we get him saying like, we need to protect our corneal epithelium.
Yeah,
which of course
I was laughing while I was filming it. I was laughing, man.
Yeah, how do I not hear laughter from behind the camera the entire time?
Dude, I was holding it in.
Also, how are they not laughing the entire time?
There is parts where they break character and like laugh, but I don't know. I mean, I guess they're just good actors. I mean, when I make the extended cut, I will work on it. The problem is it was such a windy day, and they were all wearing masks, and the audio is so bad.
Yep.
Like if the audio was good, that would literally take me like 5 or 6 hours to edit. Like that's not going to be that hard of an edit. But like because the audio was bad, I had to like use a mix of like onboard camera 1, camera 2, iPhone 2.
Oh.
So like I am working on the extended cut, but it's just going to take a second because of the audio.
Oh, I'm sure. So we do the first Mentos and Coke. The 20-ounce Diet Coke bottle was too big, so Landers thinks a 2-liter will work better. Tell me, what was going through Landers' mind at that point? What do you think?
I think I remember I explained it to him the first one, and when we finished filming it, the first one we hit cut, Landers was like, "Oh, were we supposed to do like every Diet Coke bottle size?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," and he was like, "Oh, I thought these were the 4 experiments, like each, like we were gonna cut between them." And I was like, "No." So that's kind of like on camera, I think it's like, Trevor's like, "We should do the big one," and someone's like, I think it was Landers, maybe he's like, "No," or something. Did I answer your question? What was your question?
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. So you're saying that you are cutting between experiments a little bit. It's not purely a one take.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we choose these experiments going in?
Yeah, I wanted to do things that would just be different enough from each other. I think Trevor came up with the idea of the egg in the bottle. I think he texted me when I told him about science experiments. He's like, "Have you heard of this one?" I said, "Okay." Since you brought that to me, you can do that one. That was the other thing. I kind of thought it'd be funny if they were like each in charge of an experiment, but we never explained that really. It's just like, here's my experiment, here's mine, and then Levi has 2, and then like Landers wants to go, but like Levi oversteps him. So I created this like whole backstory that didn't even need to be there to make it seem even more realistic. I knew we needed a volcano experiment, classic. So there's 2, right? And then past that, I was like, what else is classic? Diet Coke.
Diet Coke and helium.
Let's put a twist on it, because it would be funny to like have them try to get it good to go past a certain line. And then I was like, well, helium isn't really a science experiment, but what would be funny on camera? Changing voice.
So, as we go through, we then do the puppets with helium. Why does I feel like there are a lot of shots where Landers has his back turned? Um,
Yeah.
what's that about?
He took that on himself to just be like, my character's really distracted by nature. I'm like, okay, what? Sure.
Well, what I love is that he turns around. Do you see that? And then I think Trevor says, "That bird? No." so, so what did Landers see?
I think he did see a bird. I think it was a bird. Or maybe it was a car. Maybe it was a UFO. Maybe it was one of those drones.
Maybe he saw the snow globe in the sky for the first time.
Yeah.
So this experiment with the puppets was just to make helium voices for the puppets. Not much of an experiment, but entertaining nonetheless. How much voice modulation was happening in editing, and how much was actually just the helium?
No voice adjustments. It's 100% what it sounds like.
Amazing.
I changed nothing. That particular scene, I was like, well, we could just have him do a voice, but it's like, no, it'd be funnier if they made it like a puppet and he got under the table. I was kind of just picturing it in my head, and it turned out exactly how I wanted it to. When he said, I didn't tell him to say this, when they were like, let's do another science experiment, he's like, light the egg on fire. That's the one time I was laughing so hard, I think I was crying.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't understand how any of this was filmed and like any of the footage was usable, because I feel like I would have just been like how you laugh so hard sometimes, like you almost like throw up. I feel like that whenever I watch this film.
And here's some stuff about it is we couldn't find a good filming time, so we filmed it in Wilmore at my mother and father-in-law's property, and the only filming time we could get that worked, because Landers was traveling for work and Trevor had to go somewhere, was a Sunday morning at 9 a.m. That's when that was filmed. Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
Really?
And we had 1 hour to film. Like, Trevor had to be out of there and like taking a shower at like 10 to go to like a baptism or something. And so I was like, okay, we have 9 to 10. And so each science experiment is probably like 15 minutes long or something.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but was only like, it was one and done for every single experiment.
Yeah.
There was no redos.
So what you're saying, even though your category was pickup, you had no pickup shots?
None. And it may be, I mean, I could be wrong about this, it might be the fastest anyone has filmed a party room film.
I think you are forgetting about Zach on the couch.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
you're not telling me he took an hour to film that.
Okay. It's up there.
It is definitely like maybe like the third or fourth. I will definitely give that to you, but
we'll say the quickest filming time paired with the most cuts.
Yes, I'll absolutely give that to you. So tell me, so obviously we get the line, light the egg on fire, which will be my line submission for next year's line. Tell me about the evolution of the goggles.
Dude, I bought those at Dollar Tree, and I just placed them on the table. And honestly, I didn't even think that they wouldn't fit. Like, that was totally like, after they just started to put them on and they were meant for toddlers, was like, I wasn't yelling cut. I was just like, behind the camera, it's like, keep going. Like, I think there's probably parts where like I cut out of them just like looking at me like, what do we do? And I'm just looking at them like, you just got to figure it out.
It's such a brutal directing style.
So they're just struggling putting on these goggles for real. And I actually think that is what really made the film what it is the goggles, because that was like the very first thing they did, and it just instantly got them all, even though it's Sunday at 9 a.m., in this mood of like, this is the most ridiculous thing.
I imagine like something does like change like within them about like having to wear those, and then they have like the duct tape on their face. It probably does bring out a different version of them.
And then they were throwing in ideas, like credit to Trevor and Landers and Levi for, after the first one broke and they like taped it, and they were coming up with ideas of like, what if we did like an X on the face, and like what if each time like we don't say anything but the goggles just get more and more taped as we go on. So they were coming up with ideas as we went on.
Amazing. So we move on to the baking soda volcano. These are on Kansas City party plates.
Yes.
I know that you're not a Kansas City fan. Who in that group is a Kansas City fan?
I don't think anyone in the group, but my mother-in-law is a huge Kansas City fan, so I grabbed it from her house.
We talk about how this is 90% Landers, right?
Uh-huh.
We're building this volcano, and for whatever reason, Landers is setting the foundation of this. So he puts like a tiny amount of sand with a little bit of water to, I guess, create the granite or something for the volcano. I'm not sure. Levi says it needs more sand, and Landers immediately, no. Like, how much of that was real Landers being protective over his experiment?
I think that was a lot of real Landers. And I was even behind the camera. I mean, I told him to pour the sand, so I don't know what he was doing. I still don't know to this day why he poured such little sand. Landers, if you're listening to this, I don't think he is.
There's no way.
Why did you pour such little sand, man?
Well, he was like mixing it with water too. So like my guess is he was trying to make like this sedentary layer before putting the volcano on top. I don't know. But
you know what's funny about the volcano experience? This is another thing. As random as it seemed, I had to have the forethought to say one funny thing that could happen during the scene is they could have a picture of Maui from Moana and cut it out and put it on. And I had to think, how do they put it on? Do they put it on a popsicle stick? Do I need tape? And this is like the stuff I had to think of a month before we even filmed. I'm thinking of this stuff. So it seems so random, but I'm having to like, I don't have a printer at home. I have to go to the library to print it.
I just want you to see, like, that's probably reversed for you. I don't know. But the next question is literally who had the forethought to print out Maui?
Yeah.
So thank you for just answering that. So
there's forethought too of like, I had to bring pudding cups for when Landers would run away and like throw up.
So the fumes get in the goggles, excuse me. Trevor says, run your epithelium. So Landers takes off like Forrest Gump. Levi runs into the table that Trevor was already about to flip anyway, like in The Rotten Roommate.
Mm-hmm.
How did this film that was already pretty unhinged, like, how do you reach a new level of unhinged?
Yeah, just like I was saying, like baseball, I thought 7 minutes of mundane science experiments and then the last minute being very chaotic just out of nowhere, because then it would just end and people would be like, what did I just watch? Now, the first 7 minutes ended up honestly being more chaotic than I originally thought.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I feel like the first 7 minutes are like maybe out of 7, and then we go to a 9 or a 10. Originally, I thought they would be at like a 3 or 4, and we'd go to like a 10. So maybe it didn't have quite the effect I wanted, but I just thought, let's just go out with a bang, right? And so how funny would it be if Landers, in my mind of them just being themselves, I thought it would be so funny if Landers just took off sprinting, and I said to him, like, we're not fake sprinting. You are running like you are about to die. just seeing him I just had this vision of him just in the background, just sprinting as fast as he could.
Well, I mean, I think it definitely helps, like, to reach the new level of chaos. We go from like that still camera shot, and now we're moving, and we see the camera jostling. Yeah, no. Lander says, "I'll go get help," and then just takes off running in a straight line. Why does he vomit when he sees the snow globe in the sky? Why is he seeing a snow globe in the sky?
So originally, I was gonna have him run and then look up in the sky and see a talking snow globe, an animated one. I was gonna animate it.
Okay.
And I was gonna have him say like, "Hi, Landers, how are you?" or something like that. And that was the plan even after I filmed, but then I just as a placeholder, I just put in just a stock image of a snow globe. It was like, I was like, oh my gosh. I said to my wife, I was like, that's almost better because it's more in line with the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Like it's if I haven't like tried hard, those why now? So I think it worked.
Landers takes off running, and then we have Levi and Trevor. The scene where they trip over each other and then trip over each other again, it is so well choreographed. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of credit to them, honestly. I think by that point in filming, we're 50 minutes in or whatever, and I think they finally understood what I was going for, maybe a little bit. So I think that's on them of just really selling that. And I think we did film that. I want to say we filmed that 2 or 3 times. I want to say we did film. That's the one thing we did film a few times.
So congratulations to Science for being the 3rd film in which Levi has been completely drenched. The first being Sweaty Gains, the second being A Day in the Park, and now this one. Levi has a history of putting his body on the line for Party Room, and we all need to appreciate that more.
That's true. And after we got done filming, I didn't want to pay $20 for a wig that I wasn't going to wear. And so I put the wet wig in a bag, and I took it to Kohl's to send back to Amazon.
No, you didn't.
It was a wet wig. Yeah. I'm kind of ashamed of that, actually. Did I not say that?
Aaron, that's not good, buddy.
Like $60 or $70 on science experiment stuff.
That's not. So you did get money back for it? There was no like quality check?
Oh, yeah, I got it back. But if we ever make a sequel, I'm just gonna have to buy another one.
That's so funny. What I like about this here, and like I was thinking about it today when preparing for this interview. So we have Andrew's most like family friendly film, I'm a Monster. We have my film, which Paul says was like very big with his like nephews and could make a great kids TV show. Chronicles of Light, very big with the kids. And then we have this, a science experiment. This was almost our most like child friendly year almost, because we have education happening. We have, puppets. It's just very interesting.
That's a good point. And also, do you feel like you and I were kind of, I'm not saying we have similar films, but I do feel like they were on the same wavelength.
You pitched to me how that's accurate, because yours feels way more chaotic than mine ever does. Mine has.
You think so? I mean, you have guys like in a fake city like beating on each other. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's the kid thing. Maybe it's the kid thing. It feels like we're putting on a show. That's part of it. It's the
I think that's more it. Like both of them kind of feel like this could be on like kids TV on like on a Saturday morning. So I would agree in that sense. I guess I was more going for you saying like you had no plot, you had no beginning, middle, end, or anything like that.
Sure, and yeah, you did have a beginning, middle, and end, so that's true.
They weren't. They might not have been strong, but they were there. But no, for the kids show, and then just like the chaos in general, I would agree. But me and you, man, it's always fun when we team up.
I want to do something.
So Trevor yells the line while being drenched, and again, this was probably just what you were going to do, no matter what the line was, right?
Yeah, right.
So Trevor yells, "Make the podcast great again," and Levi yells back, "It's a video." Explain this interaction to me.
I don't think I told him to say it's a video. I did have written down exactly what happened at the end. That is like exactly what I wrote down, as like Landers takes off running, they trip, Trevor turns on the nozzle, he runs back, he lays out on the ground. And then I wanted him to say whatever the line was, make the podcast great again.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, maybe I did tell Levi to say it's a video. I don't know. I don't remember. I actually don't remember that. But I do know I wanted it to end with, "I think it's in my brain," and cut off the word brain.
That is my last thing. Is the last line. "I think it's in my brain." And then just no credits, nothing. We're done.
I thought I love a good ending. I always have. I think if you can hook people with the ending, that's really what you want to do, because that's what gets people talking about voting for it to be the Golden Dewey, to win something, just because it leaves people thinking. If it can end on a point where you're like, I have to talk to my neighbor about this. So I've always done that with all my films. But this one I was like, how do I end it even more chaotic? And I was like, you just end it. And in my mind, I just imagined the party room, just the line ending, and it cuts to like the minute countdown when the next person you're supposed to talk. And I'm like, why is that so funny to me? It just made me laugh.
So you did just say that, like, you want to end on that because that would help it win the Golden Dewey. Did you think you had a shot at the Golden Dewey this year?
No, I didn't think I had a shot, but I did think, because my film was really made for the replay value. I was like, I think it'll do pretty well, but I think what really will make it do well is like people replaying it 5 years from now. That's kind of what I had in mind. So it's not like I set out and was like, this is gonna to win. It was more of like, this is gonna win the long game. I'll lose the battle, but I'll win the war, sort of situation.
So speaking of losing the battle, I mean, I don't know if it was significant to you, but I mean, you did, like, you were undefeated for 4 years. Well, no, just 3 years. Excuse me. You were a latecomer, but you were undefeated up until this year, and you lost it to Mitchell Judy. Tell me how you're feeling with that.
I think of, was it J.K. Rowling who sent Harry Potter to like 100 publishers and they all turned her down? Maybe science was too ahead of its time. Maybe it's too sophisticated.
It is currently number 2 as the most viewed film on the YouTube channel.
That's the war, baby.
So lost the battle, but won the war.
No, congrats to Mitchell. I mean, he deserved it. I mean, his was great, and he obviously put more planning than I did, so he definitely deserved it.
How does it feel like with Tanner's film? Tanner's film is the most viewed with Chronicles of Light, and we can kind of chalk that up to it is those kids, it's the youth group, it's the kids' friends, and some of us. With science, who do you think is watching this film over and over again?
That's a good question, because I've shared it with no one, man.
Like, do you think this might be the breakout film that has like somehow hit the mainstream? Not mainstream, but 322 views currently.
You know what? I bet this film, I bet you it would. I mean, I could be wrong, but it could hit a little bit on TikTok or something. Like it's almost for that kind of audience. So, I don't know about it being the breakout. I don't think it's that good, but it is interesting, right? Because I have like not shared it with anyone. So, and I think I myself have viewed it a few times, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
It's just really interesting to go off on a little bit of a tangent. Our top 5 films are, number 5 is Kill Happy. We can chalk that up to, I've watched it a half dozen times at least.
Right.
But also, we have Zach's friend group, and it features some of Zach's friend group. All right. In number 4, we have My Girlfriend is a Screen. That's obviously getting replayed because it wasn't on Spotify yet, and we were all just listening to it. That makes sense to me. Our third place is the full festival of Party Room Film Festival 5.
Okay.
That's weird. But then is
how many people send it to their friends to watch? Like, are we all sending it to people? I mean, I don't know if I am, but
I'm not sending it to anybody.
I feel like, I think Zach maybe would, Tanner would, maybe. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
But like, I think what it would come down to is we need to see like what the viewing retention is. Like, is this 276 people that turned it on for 10 seconds and then turned it off, or is this like the full 2-hour video has been watched 200 times?
Sure.
But anyway, you're up there with 322 views, and I mean, I can't imagine that those are all nerds / nerd adjacents.
It's an honor. I will say this. I am glad the film, that kind of bit does make me happy because that's what it was designed to do. It was designed for the rewatch. Right? Because I was like, a lot of these jokes are going to get missed because, people are going to be laughing and stuff. Like, there's no time between the jokes because they're just being themselves. So you're going to have to rewatch it.
I mean, like night of, I did not catch anything that Trevor was saying about the corneal epithelium. So watch on the rewatch. It definitely does get even better. Are there any other stories, Easter eggs that you want to share before we move on?
I spent a lot of time before we filmed trying to figure out how to do the egg experiment, how to do all the experiments like myself, just to make sure they worked. Obviously I knew Mentos and Diet Coke, but like I was trying to like light something in a bottle. I was trying to find the perfect bottle. That took forever. I was going store to store to find the right bottle that the egg, the top was too narrow or too wide. Like, and then I had to boil eggs, and it's like, and then I think I ended up just getting like a bag of pre-boiled eggs because it was easier. Which I was like, who buys these? I guess I'd buy them. But no, I don't think there's anything else other than I always thought it would be. I think it would be hilarious if there was a Science 2 for the ending of Science to just play out, and then we like zoom out and it's like on a little TV stand and we're in like a gymnasium and it's Levi, Trevor, and Sanders at like a science fair, and then we actually have like an actual film surrounding the entire film was just like a YouTube video essentially, right?
Yeah.
And then we have an entire like real film with camera angles and shots and cuts and a real film about that somehow. And I think that would be hilarious.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, before you said science fair, I was picturing it being like on a TV, like this is what the substitute teacher showed to the class because they didn't have like an actual lesson plan. Oh, wow. That's so you think we might revisit this someday?
I don't know, maybe. I think it's a good idea. even Levi's character, and he really is the one that kind of created that character. That feels like too good of a character to just completely abandon.
So
his whiny nature, I think I told him to like whine a little bit.
The shot of the balloon flying away, and then it like tilts down to him going, ah!
Which I didn't tell him to do that with the balloon. I think he told me after, like that was actually an accident.
That's what we call pollution.
That is true. Yeah, so I sent a balloon, polluted a balloon, and sent a wig back. So honestly, there were some sins committed.
Oh, that's really funny.
Who's that?
Party Room Film Festival director.
What will Sam put in his mouth?
Welcome to What Will Sam Put in His Mouth. Today we have the wrestling belt that McGlone got us as a wedding gift, or Tremors, the complete series.
What will Sam put in his mouth? Find out after this.
All right. Are you ready?
Oh boy.
So
no, hold on. I gotta throw it to you. I gotta set it up and all that. But oh my god.
Whenever you're ready.
Sorry, I'm laughing too much. I'm so excited. All right, well, Aaron, as you know, this season on the podcast, I'm trying to give each of my guests some ownership of their own episodes, which means that everybody gets the chance to present a presentation as long as it is party room related. And now is that time. Before you start, I got to say, one of my favorite parts about this new segment on the podcast is this right here, where I just get to see the title card. And I don't really know what's coming next.
Yes.
And man, I'm very excited. What do you got for me today?
Thank you, Jacob. I'm presenting a very serious presentation. This is Party Room Film Festival Campbell's Soup Edition.
Okay.
And as you can see at the bottom of that soup can, I photoshopped it to say chicken noodle PRFF. So what is this? That is a good question. We'll throw back to the film. So some history.
What is happening?
In 1869, well, you can read that. Joseph Campbell, a fruit merchant, and Abraham Anderson, a commercial canner, formed the Joseph Campbell Preserve Company in Camden, New Jersey. They produced and sold and canned fruit, and vegetables. And this is actually, if you see this picture up here, this is their very first jar of ready-to-eat soup, the beefsteak tomato soup. And those are some old ads down there, but you'll see why this is relevant in a second. So you may be asking, in 2025, how many soups are there? How many Campbell soups are there? What would be your guess?
30.
30? I am asking the same question. I Googled for 15 minutes and could not find an answer to this, actually.
Okay.
It's not on their website, so I'll tell you this, though. There's more than 30. There's a lot more.
There was only one bullet point on that slide.
There was one.
There's so much buildup happening right now. Okay,
So,
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
As you can see here, a couple different kinds. I mean, you have, of course, like, the chicken noodle soup and stuff like that, but you have stuff that you don't normally think of. Like, but you can see it behind that picture a little bit. Chunky and home style, and then Pacific. These are just all different kind of like subgenres of Campbell's that they have. They have stock. They have stuff for the microwave, stuff for the stove. They have their healthy. I think that's what that is. cheddar cheese, creamy mushroom. They're slow kettle style. So here's the question.
Okay.
What if Party Room Film Festival directors were a soup? Which soup would they be? Have you ever thought about this?
I can promise you that I haven't. I have not thought about this.
Okay. And specifically Campbell's, right?
Okay.
There we go. So Andrew King is beefsteak tomato soup.
Okay.
Which is why I said the history a little bit there. This was the first ever soup from, and on a separate line, Campbell's, for some reason. And this is the reasoning. Andrew is the OG of Party Room, right? So it would make sense that he's the first Campbell's soup.
Mm.
The original beefsteak tomato soup features a perfect balance of texture and sweet and tart flavors. Andrew can be sweet and tart, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
It is red like the blood and evil in American Unsightly.
Mm-hmm.
He loves history, so this is right up his alley. And this soup is currently only sold at Cracker Barrels in Pennsylvania. So I've done my research.
Yeah,
So,
apparently.
Like that, he's this beefsteak tomato soup. He has it all over. That's the most obvious one.
Okay.
There's a little callback to your film. Josiah is original chicken noodle. He's central to Party Room. Chicken noodle is a staple, and Josiah feels like a staple. I mean, he made 2 films this year, right? Chicken plus noodle. That's 2 things. If you ignore the broth. Andy Warhol painted his famous 32 Campbell's soup cans, which included chicken noodle soup, further establishing the brand in pop culture. That's a little science fact. That actually has nothing to do with Josiah.
Yeah, I was about to.
It's made its way in there. You want this on a cold day, and we all, wait for it, want to work with Josiah when it is cold or hot. So anytime. Anytime.
Okay.
So that one's not as good as Andrews, but I still feel strongly about my opinion that Josiah is original chicken noodle. Zach is the vegetable beef, and it's very hearty. And
Sorry,
his films are filled with heart.
Can you start again with Zach is?
Yeah, Zach is the chunky vegetable beef.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very hearty soup.
Mm.
And his films are filled with heart. He puts a lot of love into them. I mean, think about Kill Happy and Wet. I mean, you can tell he really cares. And I just feel like this is something that a grandmother would make, like Kill Happy. Maybe. His films leave you fulfilled. His family literally feeds us festival night, and this would make most people full. I think. And it comes in a 12-pack, and it's good for nuclear fallout for pets. So that kind of makes sense, right?
I like that you say for pegged, but also just for Zach. Like Zach's all about that apocalyptic.
That is true. That is true. So there you go.
Perfect.
There's that. I went a little crazy with the guess, but it's okay. Sam is grilled cheese and tomato. Have you ever heard of this kind?
I have not. I immensely want it right now, though.
It's a limited edition kind. I think it first came out in 2003. The reason for this is End of the Bloodline is a classic, right? Tomato. And then you have End of the Bloodline 2, which is a twist on a classic, grilled cheese. Hence that. This can literally looks like Mitchell in his film Game Night. I mean, That's pretty. I mean, come on.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And he's the first Golden Dewey winner. This combo is a winner.
Wow.
Do you have any questions so far?
No, I am on board with every single one you've said. Like, I have no arguments or like, yeah, this is great.
Good. Good. A lot of thought went into this. Paul is chicken broth.
Mm.
And my wife was looking over my shoulder earlier when I was making this and said that was an insult. But I will tell you right now, it is not an insult. Because Paul is always cooking the competition, and you use chicken broth in a lot of dishes.
Very true.
It is used in a lot of Thanksgiving dishes. That has nothing to do with Paul. That's just a fact. This is an assumption, but Alan Levi, who wrote and sang Where the People Walk Backwards from Sir Sam, has probably had chicken broth before.
I would, if I was a betting man, and I am, I would take that money.
So if Alan Levi is watching this and has not had chicken broth, you can DM me, and I will owe you an apology, I guess. I don't know.
We'll have to take the whole season of the podcast down.
Yeah, I think that's what we do. You always know each Paul film will be a classic. I think this is the 4th time I've used that. It's loaded with sodium because he's salty. He keeps coming in second. But then I said, nah, Paul's a good guy, so he doesn't get mad.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Very good.
And apparently there's 5 recipes on every label, so.
Is that right?
I think something went wrong with my GIF there. It's a little narrow.
It's amazing. It's perfect.
So Jacob, this is what I have for you.
Okay.
It's not technically no technically Campbell's, but have you ever seen the 1990s Chef Boyardee commercial?
I can hear the music right now.
For those of you that don't know, a little girl is wanting Chef Boyardee. Her mom says to come on. And the can falls off the shelf on its own and follows her home. Goes past this guy mowing his lawn, rolls up to her leg. She has it for dinner. Well, why do you think you are this can?
I travel a lot.
That would be a good answer, but Jacob copied my poster for how to find food in the wild, kind of like following me home. That's how it felt.
Oh. I was ready for well, it's because you're such a good. Nope. Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, no. Okay. I got you. I have you actually as Ghost Pepper Chicken Noodle.
Okay.
This is a good thing because you made the podcast great again. I don't know what that has to do with Ghost Pepper, but you did. Congrats.
Okay.
You do the most in a good way, like the hockey party room shirt, snow globes, dedication to filming, singing in Levi's films, the podcast. And I thought, this suit does the most.
Okay.
Have to endure heat like we had to endure How Not to Find Food in the Wild.
Okay.
And true wild card, right? Your films are a true wild card, I think. I think we never know what we're going to get when we get into them. So I think this would be a good one for you.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm happy with it.
And there's that. Okay.
Oh, gifts are amazing.
So Levi is the baked potato with cheddar and bacon bits. Chunky. He's bringing the gains with 10 grams of protein per can. Perfect meal for a date night with a screen girlfriend. Concerning Potatoes was his last film, so it had to be potatoes.
That's a good point. Good point.
There's tons of words on this can, and his film have a lot of lyrics. I mean, how many? There's like 1, 2, 3. There's like too many words to count. There's at least 19 words on this can.
That's so many.
There's lots of ingredients. He's in a lot of films.
That he is. That he is. Very good.
So there you go.
There we go. That's perfect.
That's a perfect tip for that. I gave myself the chunky microwave turkey bowl.
Okay.
This is a limited edition. I don't know when it came out. I don't know if they're still making it. I said, what am I eating? And that kind of correlates to what am I watching?
Mm.
So I thought that was good because this has sweet potatoes, green beans, and cranberries. I love Thanksgiving like Paul does. I think that's why I said his could be used in Thanksgiving dishes. I guess we both love Thanksgiving. And I do love Thanksgiving. Microwavable. It's quick. We filmed science in 1 hour. I feel like if I worked for Campbell's, I would come up with this.
Okay.
And my last point is it's either going to be horrible or award-winning. There's no in between. You've committed to the bit.
As I'm reading the ingredients on this, sweet potatoes, green beans, and cranberries, I do like that's got to be awful, or it might be the best thing we've ever had. So,
correct. And it's probably awful, actually, really, because cranberries in soup sounds horrible. Actually,
sounds awful.
Now that I'm thinking about this, that sounds awful. Cody, this Japanese cream of pumpkin.
Interesting.
His film was shot in Japan, right?
Right.
Shipping would take a long time to arrive in America, like his films during the 2-month deadline. And that sounds like a slight. And I love Cody. I'm sorry.
That sounds like a slight. It is.
Films are a tinge scary, like Computer Head, and pumpkins on Halloween can be scary.
All right, I like it. I like it.
Do you agree with this one?
I agree with your reasoning for everything.
Okay. I think that's good enough.
I mean, I don't have the list of all Campbell's soups to go like, no, actually, he's the Swedish, whatever, But I mean, Japanese cream of pumpkin, I would put that with Cody.
Well, look up Campbell's soup after this and email me if.
And then we can redo the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tanner is classic chicken with rice.
Mm.
There's a lot of rice in a lot of Chronicles of Light films.
Yeah.
Chicken and rice is a perfect comfort meal. Chronicles series make you feel happy. They do.
Very true.
The good guys win, right?
Right.
And then and the third point, it just says Sticky Bandits. I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with that. Don't. Tanner, I'm so sorry. This might be my weakest reasoning yet.
Okay. I mean, we could try to work backwards. Wet Bandits was something. I don't know where Sticky is coming from.
Oh, wait. Is there Sticky Rice? Sticky Rice is a thing.
Sticky Rice is a thing. So you did like word association, but added like extra dots in between.
I think that's what happened.
All right. Well, congrats, Tanner, for your Sticky Bandits.
Mitchell is this home style clam chowder. I said controversial, like throwing a camera down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
Home style because he's recently become good dad.
Mm.
Not he hasn't recently. Let me clarify. He hasn't recently become a good dad. He's always been a good dad. He's recently become a dad.
August has been around for like a year and a half now, but Mitchell's finally being a good one. So, congrats to him for that.
Congrats. If Mitchell filmed in New England, he would eat this probably on set.
Okay.
So, still not the best reasoning, but I had to do like 13 of these, so come on. Trevor is Campbell's chicken noodle fake container.
Oh, do they actually sell this?
They do on Amazon.
But like, is it associated with Campbell's?
No, I don't think so. I think you
Okay.
just hide money in it on a bookshelf.
Okay, never mind.
He has valuables inside of him, like party room spirit.
Yeah.
And I mean this in the kindest way, but
Mhm.
he's kind of pretending to be Soup.
Trevor's pretending to be Soup?
His films.
His films are Soup.
His films are they're films, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
But again, I mean that in the kindest way. Of course. Matt is spicy nacho cheese.
Nice.
And I think that's a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if there's anything you say about Matt, I think he brings it with the fan favorite stuff. I mean, Bargain Batman is just perfect. And then all his Stice films. His films complete any party room lineup. He's the winner, Golden Dewey, and this is golden. I think. I've never actually had this soup.
Mm.
Cheese can make any dish taste better, just like how Matt helps out by filming and trading cards. He's always willing to be in people's films, and he does the trading cards. He was our team captain, so I feel like this is a comfort cheese dish, and I feel like the same way this makes me feel, Matt makes me feel.
Very nice. Very good.
That is the end.
Oh, dude, these GIFs. GIFs.
You have questions?
So you said that Mitchell would be the clam chowder because that's probably what he would eat if he was in England.
Cool.
What would you eat in England?
I would probably eat the Thanksgiving microwaved chunky candy.
Oh, so like no, they don't have Thanksgiving over there.
In that case, I'm just having water.
I guess I'd love to know where the idea for doing directors versus soups came from. Who hurt you? What happened?
I wanted to do every director as something.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, all I could think of was soup. I think it's because of how cold it is outside.
Yeah.
Right? And then
Right.
once I started looking into Campbell's history, I mean, I was just hooked.
Amazing. I mean, I think I don't have any questions. Like I feel as though my knowledge has grown and my appreciation for soup has grown exponentially.
Good. Next time you're in the soup aisle, call me. I don't know why. You could FaceTime me and show me the different kinds.
I'll just be like, look, it's me with Matt, and I'll find like the spicy nacho cheese. All right, amazing. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. I'm glad I was able to present this. I'm glad I'm getting this off my chest, to be honest.
Truth be told, Aaron is the reason that we are having presentations, because in the first year, Like, he was the pilot episode of the Party Room Film Festival podcast, and he was asking me, can I present this right now? Like, he's had this presentation ready for like the past 5 years, and I just haven't been able to get it in, but now we do.
There you go. There you go. I've been trying to get this off my chest for years.
Sam.
Tag team, Ellen, this one's put you in your mouth.
No, thank you.
Tune in next time to find out.
What was Sam put in his mouth?
Hey there, Ferguson the Puppet here. This week's podcast episode is brought to you by the letter P and the word puppet, as in the best puppet, which I am. I want a freaking golden Dewey, so suck it, all you And now, enjoy the rest of the episode.
All right, Aaron, I've got just a few more questions for you, if that's all right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so after seeing how well received the merch was this year, what other merch would you like to see in the future?
I want to see Party Room Film Festival Band-Aids.
Band-Aids? Why?
If I have a cut
Mhm.
and I show someone it, and it says Party Room right there,
Mm.
they're going to have questions. 2 questions mainly. One, what is Party Room?
Mhm.
And 2, how did you get cut?
So this is like a black Band-Aid that just says PRFF or Party Room
Yeah.
Film Festival on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think that would sell well in our merch store?
I would buy it.
I mean, yeah, I guess if there can be like Paw Patrol Band-Aids, why can't there be Party Room Band-Aids?
Yeah, Matt, can you look into that? Or I don't know why Matt, but I just feel like he can figure it out. I don't know why.
Yeah, that felt right. Josiah's the one that puts the orders in, but you're like, Matt, do this. Aaron, what Party Room Lego sets would you like to see?
Oh, I like that question. I've recently gotten into Legos, so that's a good question for me.
Yeah, you had that massive the plane or the rocket.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Looks
was
good,
really
buddy.
fun. Yeah, thanks, man. That was really fun. Party Room Lego sets. The first thing that comes to mind is I just want Zach's living room
Okay.
on festival night.
Oh, so the festival night film showing.
Yeah, like all of us
Okay.
with couches and stuff.
His parents' living room.
Yeah,
Okay.
give me that, and then if I had to say one from a film, I would say probably one of your guy, right? What does he have a name? The guy in the snow globe that you gave me.
Oh, the Gundam from Unstoppable
Yeah.
Force.
Yeah.
All right.
Give me that.
Cool. What would the set be, or would it just be like that figure, kind of the way they do like those big Marvel figures?
Yeah, probably just a figure.
Okay.
I mean, he could be stomping on the pegged violin.
Just random crossover for
Yeah.
no reason. All right, cool. No, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Rate yourself over the years. Obviously, you haven't been with us all 5 years,
Mhm.
but rate those 4 films for me.
Is it 1 to 10?
Put them
Oh,
in
order.
position of your favorites versus least favorite.
Yeah. I think Science is my favorite.
Okay.
I think science is my favorite just because it's close with Rotten Roommate. So if it's like a 1-2, it's like a 1A 1B situation.
Okay.
And it could just be recency thing. So like 3 years from now we'll look at it again. But I love science because my perfect humor is I don't know if I can laugh at this or not.
Yeah.
And I think that hits it to its and then like I said, like Rotten Roommate would be right below that. Rotten Roommate 2 would be below that, and How to Find Food in the Wild would be fourth.
Really? Why How to Find Food in the Wild? Like, not that you are wrong about your opinion. I'm just curious. Why is How to Find Food in the Wild fourth?
I don't know. I think I just like the Rotten Roommate storyline. It's not like it's a huge spread. I just like the Rotten like. I thought the sequel was like a really solid sequel to it. So it's more about the strength of the others, and you just have this like one off. I don't think it's a bad film, but when I rewatch them all, that one probably makes me laugh the least.
Okay. Very cool. And then, I mean, last question is, what can we expect? What might we see going forward from Aaron Films?
I think the best thing to say with that would be to expect the unexpected.
Boo. Cliche. Boo.
I learned something with science, right? Like doing something that's never been done is a fun thing. And I love when artists like artists. Are we artists? I love when directors like
That's yeah, artist is that's an option.
Like Levi made Concerning Potatoes, and I don't think it gets talked enough about because it's like he took a risk, and I think that's good. Whenever we're doing things that haven't been done before, I think we're stepping in the right direction.
You just want to continue to push the boundaries and do your best to, create something that nobody else has created yet.
Yeah, essentially. And they'll probably still be chaotic, to be honest. They're always going to be chaotic, I feel like.
That they have to have that party room flavor.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, this has been the PRFFP, and I'm just hanging out.
Hanging out with my family.